I live in a city that seems to dance on the edge of madness, where every street whispers secrets and every corner holds a story. My name is Anna, and my world was painted in the vibrant colors of passion, with John as the anchor of my chaotic existence. Our love was a wild, untamed thing, or so I believed until the days before our wedding. The wedding preparations were like a festival, a whirlwind of satin and silk, champagne flowing like the rivers of our laughter. I moved through these days with a grace that belied the storm inside me, my raven hair and dark eyes reflecting a life lived on the edge. John, with his deceptive charm, was the epicenter of my universe, the man who promised to share every ounce of this madness with me. But beneath this perfect facade, something sinister was brewing. Just days before we were to be wed, an instinct, dark and foreboding, led me to follow John. My heart was a drum, beating the rhythm of betrayal yet to be confirmed. I followed him through the city's labyrinth, each step echoing the dread growing within me, until we reached the house of his father, where Marta, his stepmother, now lived. Peering through a window, draped only by a sheer curtain, I witnessed a scene that would forever alter the course of my life. There was John, not in the embrace of love but of betrayal, entwined with Marta. The sight was like a blade to my soul, cutting through my dreams, my hopes. Yet, instead of confronting them, I chose silence. With a calm I didn't feel, I recorded this act of treachery, capturing the moment my love turned to ash. The days that followed were a theater of the absurd. I played my role, the happy bride-to-be, with such conviction that even I almost believed it. The city buzzed with the anticipation of our union, but my heart was plotting a different end. On the wedding day, everything was as it should have been: flowers, guests, laughter, all under the illusion of joy. The church was a spectacle of beauty, with light dancing through stained glass, a cruel contrast to the darkness I carried within. The ceremony itself was a mockery, each vow a lie, each kiss a betrayal. When it came time for speeches, I waited, my heart a storm ready to break. As I stood to speak, my voice clear and steady, I looked at John, the man who had deceived me. "Love," I said, my words resonating in the silent church, "is supposed to be sacred, isn't it? A bond untouched by the shadows of deceit." I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. Then, with the precision of a vengeful muse, I orchestrated the revelation. The lights dimmed, a screen descended, and there, for all our loved ones to see, was the video of John's betrayal with Marta. The room erupted, gasps, cries, and the shocked silence that followed were music to my ears. I watched John's face, his mask of happiness crumbling, as the truth laid bare. Marta stood there, her reputation shattered, a figure of scandal. I didn't feel the lightness of vindication, but there was satisfaction in watching the truth dismantle the lies we had all lived by. I had brought down the house of cards, not with tears or anger, but with the stark truth of betrayal. After the video ended, the silence was so profound you could hear the collective breath of everyone in that church. I stood there, the bride in white, now more like a judge than a lover, watching as my world and John's collapsed into rubble. The guests, once merry, now looked at us with a mix of pity and disgust. The chaos was immediate. John tried to speak, to explain, but his words were drowned out by the uproar, by the shouting of his family, by the tears of his mother, who had now to face not only her son's betrayal, but the complicity of her husband's new wife. Marta, for her part, fled, her face a mask of horror, leaving a trail of scandal behind her. I felt nothing but the cold satisfaction of vengeance served, yet it wasn't long before the emptiness began to seep in. I had wanted to expose the lie, to reclaim my dignity, but now, standing amidst the ruins of what was supposed to be our beginning, I felt the weight of my solitude. The guests dispersed, some in shock, others in a hurry to escape the awkwardness, leaving John and me in the eye of the storm we had created. "I never meant to hurt you," John finally managed to say, his voice a whisper against the tempest I had unleashed. But his words were hollow, falling flat between us. "You never meant for me to find out," I retorted, my voice steady, my heart anything but. I turned away from him, from the altar where we were to have sworn our lives to each other. My steps echoed in the now empty church, each one a declaration of my newfound freedom, yet also a reminder of the chains I had just broken. Outside, the world was still celebrating, unaware of the drama that had unfolded within those sacred walls. I walked through the streets, my wedding dress a stark contrast to the mundane world around me. People stared, whispered, some even recognized me from local gossip that would surely spread like wildfire. I found refuge in the solitude of my small apartment, the one I had planned to leave for a life with John. Now, it was my sanctuary, a place to peel away the layers of deceit and rediscover who I was beneath the role of the wronged lover. The days that followed were a blur of media attention, phone calls from friends, and the silent judgment of society. But in my solitude, I found a strange peace. I began to write, pouring my pain, my rage, and my liberation into words. My pen became my sword, my paper my battlefield, where I fought to reclaim my narrative from the ashes of what was supposed to be my love story. John tried to reach out, to apologize, to explain, but I had no interest in his excuses. My life had taken a turn. I was no longer the naive girl who had fallen for his charm. I was now a woman aware of her strength, her worth, and the depth of her own darkness. As time passed, the scandal faded into the background noise of life. I moved on, not by forgetting, but by understanding that this betrayal had set me free in ways I had never imagined. I traveled, I wrote, I lived with an intensity that matched my passion for life, a passion that had once been directed solely at John, now turned towards myself and my journey. In the end, I realized that the wedding, the betrayal, and the public shaming were not my downfall but my rebirth. I had been baptized in the fire of truth, emerging not as the bride of John, but as Anna, a woman unbound, unburdened, and unafraid to live on her own terms. Thus, my story with John ended not with a wedding, but with a revolution of the self, and in that, I found my true beginning.